Welcome back to Core Conversations. It's all about leadership growth and the future of tech. Today I'm joined by JT Johnson, Chief Revenue Officer at Limitless, an enterprise retail media and ad tech platform helping brands scale across Amazon, Walmart, Target, and beyond. JT has spent nearly 2 decades in enterprise sales and revenue leadership across companies like SAP Concur, Oracle, Phenom, and fintech platforms like Justify. And today he's at the forefront of one of the fastest growing areas in digital marketing, retail media and performance advertising. JT, welcome to the show, man. Pumped to have you.
Thanks for having me, John. Super excited to be here and to chat with
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time. And, I know we got a lot to cover, but I wanted to open up the dialogue by, if you don't mind, just kind of sharing a little bit of your story, kind of
you.
how
Yeah.
you got here, and also the company that you and your brother built that kind of launched this whole.
Yeah, would love to, right? I think it's, understanding people's background and story is really important. I think it always gives a lot of interesting insight into A, experiences, but B, how you got to where you are, right? I'm based in the Minneapolis metro area. I'm in Minnesota. I'm very blessed to have an amazing wife. I have 4 beautiful girls, and I'm really just a serial entrepreneur and tech nerd at heart. So, my superpower, I think, has really been being able to take a new product or idea, find the best product market fit for it, and then really figure out how to best price it, package it, and build a sales process around it to be able to drive revenue and make a business out of it.
Awesome.
Um, this all started basically coming out of college when my brother and I had invented and commercialized a sporting goods product called No Sweat, which is a hat and helmet liner that soaks up sweat, so you don't have really sweat dripping down your face and your eyes, whether you're golfing, playing baseball, hockey, or lacrosse, and also protects your hat from getting like those nasty sweat stains on them and getting ruined. So, launched that. Still, company still exists today. Have professional athletes using it in baseball, golf, NHL. Every NHL referee gets issue 3 of my games. So I'm still on the board of the company, and the company's still growing, doing really, really well. But I was really kind of when I first cut my teeth in the whole entrepreneurial endeavor. And then after No Sweat, I think you'd alluded to, worked in the SaaS space at Oracle, SAP Concur. Last couple of years was at a fintech startup here in the Twin Cities area called Justify, and then joined my brother's Justin's company Limitless here earlier this year as their new CRO. Really, at the end of the day, I love new product ideas and building businesses around them. Almost to a fault. Like, for example, I don't know if you can see behind me here all the photos and stuff. So we actually started a new youth soccer club in our area here 3 years ago called Lakers FC, which now has 10 teams and 155 kids, and is the
Wow.
fastest growing youth soccer club in the state of Minnesota. So just love creating and building stuff.
That's amazing. Yeah, it sounds like you've just been after it since day one, right? You guys,
Yeah, I'm just not very good at sitting still. I think probably more than anything, as my wife can allude to.
well, you've built a beautiful family and a beautiful company and had a lot of great wins along the way. And it's an honor to have you on as a guest, man. I really appreciate you coming in and sharing your time and your story.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of Limitless, my brother Justin started Limitless really from his experience running and managing Amazon ads for No Sweat, which is the company we had co-founded out of college. Founded about 8 years ago, and for the last 8 years, Limitless has operated primarily as an Amazon and marketplace ad agency for large retail brands like Sony, Makita, Skullcandy, HP, HyperX, McKesson, Pentair, just to name a few. And really, what is unique about our company, and unlike most other ad agencies, is that we built our own tech and software platform on the back end to really manage all of our customer ads across all of their marketplaces, whether it be Amazon, Walmart.com, or Target.com, to name a few, which is really a huge differentiator for us because it allows us to launch and run ads and leverage target audiences in ways that really other ad agencies can't, because it's just not, basically physically possible to do it, like using Amazon's own platform or some of the other tools. And, what I was excited to chat with you is, we leverage AI and proprietary algorithms within our own platform that allows us to, make automatic bid adjustments, adjust ad spend, It allows us to maximize revenue and return on ad spend for our customers and ensure we're running everything as profitably as possible. So, like, in short, we're leveraging AI, so our platform, it has the ability to find what products are selling the most, are doing it at the lowest cost, and have the ability to really do it at scale using some pretty phenomenal algorithms. So, does that help give you at least kind of a quick overview on how we started and what we're about?
Yeah, that's perfect. Man, I really appreciate the overview. So, how has Limitless evolved? I mean, I know you're about a year in, right? But how has Limitless evolved with what they're delivering to their customer base? And
Yeah.
what are you guys working on kind of as the next frontier?
Yeah, really great question. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we really just love partnering with brands to drive revenue, and our business has pivoted a little bit in order to ensure we're doing that. Right, that's the most important thing for us. So there's really kind of two growing trends that we've seen over the last couple of years, and have released some products to align to that. The first one have seen this growing trend by brands wanting to move away from ad agencies and bring managing their Amazon and marketplace ad spend in house, so they
Okay,
feel they can have a little bit better visibility into it, tighter control however is being spent. So we actually ended up launching a SaaS version of our own in-house platform that we built over the last 8 years to meet this growing demand. So ultimately brands can leverage our software to be able to manage everything in-house. Like I said, at the end of the day, we love partnering with brands to drive revenue. So this allows us to partner with you, whether it's us doing it for you or you doing it yourself using our platform. So,
interesting.
I have dozens of brands using us, partnering with us on that front, which has been fantastic. The other growing trend we've seen from our partner brands, and this is really what my brother brought me on the business to do, is the desire to drive more sales and revenue to a brand's D2C website. We have a brand new advertising capability that my brother Justin and our dev team built earlier this year that is really kind of a game changer in this space. And as I mentioned, I joined the company earlier this year to help launch and grow this new ad capability, which uses Amazon DSP ads to target consumers or customers outside of Amazon on really what we call the open internet and drive them to your D2C website. So Amazon DSP ads, for those that don't know, are DSP stands for demand side platform. So they're different from traditional Amazon ads that you see in Amazon in that they still allow you to run like display or video ads on all of Amazon's digital properties, but also run them on 37 different ad exchanges that include basically any website, mobile app, streaming, TV services, podcasts, basically everywhere else. Uh, but also have the ability to use Amazon's customer and shopping data, which is, I think, undisputedly the
Right,
richest in the world. And so we're able to leverage that data to create target audiences for those ads. So
right.
they're being shown to the right person at the right time and at the lowest cost. So, like, for example, like, I feel like there's a lot of gibberish there. But for example, if you use Shopify for your D2C e-commerce store, our DSP for Shopify ads would allow you to target anyone who has interacted with your brand on Amazon, but not made a purchase on any website. Excuse me. So take a step back. So they would allow you to target anyone who has maybe interacted with your brand on Amazon, but not made a purchase yet. We would
Okay,
have the ability to target them on any website or mobile app that they're on, and then drive them back to your website where you're going to have a better customer experience. You don't have competitors there that are trying to outbid you or undercut you in price. And ultimately, you're making higher margins compared to other marketplaces. So,
interesting.
it's something that we feel is a real pretty significant game changer. And we're really on the leading edge of this capability. And we're seeing just a lot less competition in terms of ad spend. So the cost to run these ads is significantly less. So, it's costing you less, you're making higher margins on the sales, and we're seeing customers with an average return on ad spend or ROAS of like 15.86, which is almost phenomenal across the size of brands that we're working with. So, some are a little bit lower, but multiples are higher. We have a few that are like over 20, and it's mind-boggling. So we're pretty excited about it. And think we're doing something that's unique, and it really just, at the end of the day, like I said, we love partnering with brands, so it allows us to continue to partner with them and really, I think, align with what their goals are, whether it's selling on Amazon or their D2C site. For most brands, it's not an either or thing. It's a both, and this really
Right.
allows us to continue to do that. So, did I
Okay.
explain that okay?
Yeah, that was perfect. And I appreciate you kind of getting into the weeds on the acronyms because not everybody speaks your language, right?
Yeah, nobody doesn't, and I know that too, right? From joining the company recently, in internal meetings, I'm like, "What does that mean again?" So yeah, I think that's good to highlight that.
So I got a question. Let's say you're going after a big brand, and do you guys do an audit of their existing marketing system and ad system and, get all the metrics, and what are you looking at and what are you looking to improve when you go out
Yeah,
to a new client?
that's really a great question. So we do have the ability to do that, and traditionally have done that for a lot of our partner brands, right? That want to do, call it like an Amazon audit,
Mhm.
understand what they're performing, understand whether or not we can deliver something that's going to be different for them, or a better result. So absolutely have the capability to do that. But at the end of the day, right? I'm a sales guy, right? Every salesperson that's trying to sell any type of Amazon ad services or anything like that, right, has the ability to do that and make claims on it. So,
Right.
at the end of the day, really for us, I think the best way to acquire new customers is find ways that you can add additional value to what they're doing. And so we're really excited about the DSP to Shopify, or whatever, excuse me, about this DSP to Shopify ad capability, because we see it as a way that we can really add additional value, help generate more revenue, higher margins for our brand partners. And if we do right by them and do a really good job, then at the end of the day, that's going to give us an opportunity to help them with the other parts of their business too.
Exactly. So you're allowing them to scale into a new vertical without using the older model. It's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, it is, right. And that, like I said, most brands we're chatting with, it's a core initiative of them. They're all looking at, and nothing against Amazon. Amazon is amazing. Like, we would not exist without Amazon. We are the biggest Amazon advocates and partners, more than anyone, right? But,
Right.
you know, there are a lot of costs to it, and it's crazy. Like, and I even know this from the company that my brother and I co-founded, No Sweat, right? In terms of the costs and fees and everything that you're paying on that marketplace, it's phenomenal, right? But, you know, it takes a pretty significant percentage of margin away from you. So if
Right.
you have the ability to do that and make higher margins somewhere else, then you know why would you not be going to do that? And so we're excited about this. It allows us to basically leverage really what we know inside and out, and we feel better than anybody, right, on the Amazon side, but also really, I think, better aligned to what we're hearing from a lot of brands of wanting to drive more sales back to their D2C. And again, most brands are using Google or Meta, so like Facebook or social ads and stuff like that, to drive to their main website. And so again, this doesn't really overlap with anything else that they're doing. If anything, it's just really enhancing it. It's not conflicting with any of the other ads or anything they're doing. And actually,
Right.
really more than anything, we've seen this really kind of neat flywheel effect where it's actually really enhanced the other stuff they're doing, because you're just targeting and being able to touch consumers across a wider range of places where they are.
So it's a complimentary service.
Yeah, it really is.
Interesting. That's good. Interesting. That's really beautiful. How long did it take, let's say, your brother to kind of get this all to where it is now? I mean, you said,
Yeah, so like the new ad capability we have, which with leveraging the DSP to Shopify ads, I'd say him and our dev team were tinkering around with it for, man, about a year, until they were finally able to unlock it
okay,
and use it in the way that we've been able to, we've seen other, I don't even really call them competitors, but we've seen some other offerings that kind of offer to the open internet. But from our experience, the results really weren't there. It was driving a lot of new traffic. Really, some of the benefits we're seeing is the ability to retarget audiences. So somebody that has interacted with you but hasn't purchased yet or anything like that, you get much higher conversion rates on that. And so being able to leverage that, I think, was really a key part of that from an audience perspective. And so that was something that took a long time, I think, for them to really figure out and unlock and do it in a way that we can really automate it and do it well. So, we're nerds on the back end. We do A/B testing at a very extreme level in terms of, campaigns and bid management and everything like that. That's a really kind of a secret sauce part of our software. And so being able to unlock the ability to do that in the way we want to do it and drive it back to Shopify was something that just, it took a long time, and wanted to perfect. But the results we're seeing, it's, we're almost pitching ourselves. We're trying to partner and run basically pilots. So that's one of the things that we've started to do with a lot of large brands, is just run a free trial or a pilot for a, low amount of spend for them to test it out and see if it works. And we're really trying to do that with as many types of brands as possible, to see if we can still get the consistent results we are across different across different like product categories.
So, would you work with a small brand, or is that mostly just targeting large brands?
Yeah, absolutely. We work with small brands. So like that's one of the other aspects of our business and our company that we really like. Like there's a handful of brands that we partnered with, and we partnered with them. They were small,
Mm,
but our ad capability is something that really allowed them to grow, and they're no longer small companies. They are massive companies,
sweet.
and drive a ton of revenue. And so really for us, like I said, we love partnering with brands. So, if it's a really, really great product and you know, I think an important part is having the same understanding with what their goals are and making sure we align to it. I'd say the key check marks for right now that we think are the most successful is, they're selling both on Amazon and they have Shopify as the back end of their e-commerce store. And they're looking for ways to drive additional revenue, back to the D2C side.
Got it. That makes sense.
So
Interesting.
absolutely, yeah. So like the other unique thing too, just getting the weeds a little bit on Amazon's DSP ads specifically, like you can partner with Amazon. So we're an Amazon certified DSP partner and an AMC partner as well. And so what's interesting is if you were to go partner with Amazon, they have minimum monthly spend requirements of $50,000 in monthly ad spend for DSP ads just to even be able to run them. So
Wow.
for a lot of smaller brands, if they were to go try to do that with Amazon, like I'm not gonna, they don't have $50,000 to run a test or a trial on. And
Right.
so our partnership with Amazon allows us to basically, leverage our DSP license and have brands be able to run a test or a pilot for like $1,000 or $2,000, and that's usually enough spend to really get a feel for whether or not it's the right opportunity and right fit.
Interesting. That's good to know. That's got to be helpful for smaller businesses that are trying to
It
scale. And
really is. And we have a number of brands that we partner with that, and again, with Amazon's DSP ads, there are a lot of people that offer the ability to run and do DSP ads and basically drive traffic back to Amazon. That's those were originally created for. So we've kind of unlocked a unique ability. So traditionally, it was leveraging, you know, all these different ad exchanges and everything to drive traffic back to your Amazon page, right, product page, and drive sales on Amazon. And for us, we just figured out how to unlock the ability to rather than drive them to Amazon, drive them also to your D2C site if you want. So we do have a large percentage of our customers that do use Amazon DSP specifically for Amazon as well. So,
interesting.
there are smaller brands where it's something that's been on the radar where they've wanted to run and trial DSP ads, but haven't been able to do it because of that cost, higher cost. So,
Right.
so that absolutely is something that we've been able to do as well. Did I explain that okay?
Yeah, that was perfect. Do you guys have any sort of proprietary tech involved with your process? Like anything that,
Oh yeah, that is big part of our business. That's why we exist. Is our
uh,
platform? It is completely proprietary, secret sauce, as we like to call it here, that makes us different. So it's a huge, huge, huge part of our business. It's why we've been able to be so successful, but also too why we've also been able to grow and scale as a company and still maintain a small number of employees. We have about 10 employees total at the company or working with the company. We do partner. We have a lot of Amazon consultants and referral partners and stuff that we work with, but for the most part, it's really allowed us to grow and scale as a company, but not necessarily have to add significantly more employees. If we had to do what we're doing and do it, call it like manually, for lack of a better term, we would have to have 5 times more employees that we have just to be able to do it, what we're doing. It's
right.
crazy.
It's the beauty of technology these days,
It,
right?
it really is, right?
It really is. So what's like one of the biggest bottlenecks you guys are facing and how does that look?
Man, that is a great question. I mean, I would say, a couple of the bottlenecks, and by bottlenecks, what do you mean by that specifically? Bottleneck, I think can mean
Like
something different.
any point of, let's say, the sales cycle and or getting a client fully up and running on your platform that maybe could be more efficient or
Yeah, I
automated.
mean, I would say the biggest blocker for any sales cycle, right, is just getting in and having a conversation, right? There are a lot of Amazon ad agencies and partners and stuff out there, and so when you have, call it a sector, right, that is pretty crowded, finding ways to differentiate yourself is difficult.
Sure.
So, if we didn't have our SaaS offering and didn't have this DSP to Shopify offering, and we were strictly only working with brands, as an Amazon ad agency, I think things would be really, really tough for us. Unfortunately, it's a small world. We've seen a number of agencies that have really just gone out of business because of this. And so really we see this as a really important way for us to differentiate ourselves, but also, grow and sustain ourselves as a company.
Got it.
I think it's super important, right? With any business, you can't be stuck in your ways. You need to really understand what the trends are, right, and how you can pivot, and ultimately be successful. Because at the end of the day, we're really a service business, right? So we need to make sure that we're aligning to what our customers are wanting to do and what their goals are, and need to make sure we're aligning to that. So
So when it comes to one of your bigger customers, let's say you're working with a big brand and you guys are delivering the advertising across multiple platforms, both Amazon and on their own platform, and it kind of reaches in every direction, right? Can you walk through that a bit?
yeah, what do you mean? Tell me a little bit more about that. What do you mean by that?
Like, let's say I'm scrolling on Instagram and I get an ad for a product that could be coming from your company, right? Do you guys blast to
So it
all the
wouldn't
different
be
platforms?
wouldn't be Instagram. So if you think of like social, anything that's like social media, right? Like Meta, so that would be like Facebook or Instagram.
Right.
That's going to be leveraging their platforms, or like TikTok is has their own ad platform. And so for us, there's like 37 different ad exchanges. So I would say any website that isn't Google, right, or Amazon, and is not like a social platform. So if you're
Okay.
on, like, if you think of mobile apps that you pull up and you see those ads that are on mobile apps that you're using them, like the freemium versions, like those are the areas where we're able to get access to.
Got it. So, do you work in any of the social media platforms, or is it strictly on the internet outside of socials?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so currently today, the short answer is no. And part of that is because at the end of the day, we feel it's really important to, rather is to really like specialize and be really, really good at what we do.
Right.
And to be fair, and anybody that that runs ads on Meta or any of the other social, it's just a different animal, right?
It is.
So for us, it makes a lot more sense for us to focus where we are. It is something that we have entertained. I would say there's really kind of two areas that we've been exploring moving into. One has been TikTok. There's just some really unique things going on with TikTok, and their ads. Personally, I'm not on it. I don't we don't let our kids be on it or anything like that for all the reasons that everybody knows. But at
Right.
the end of the day, right, if that's where brands want to go, so that's one area we've been exploring. The other has been leveraging Chat GPT and having the ability to either run ads or manage what you're doing from within Chat GPT. So we've been kind of doing some dev work and some testing with some capabilities in that. And so we see those as opportunities where we always listen to our customers. So whatever they're saying that seems to be a consistent theme, then that's something that we think is really important to pay attention to. For us, we have other agencies that we know really specialize in kind of the meta ads, that space, social space. And so we've traditionally just tried to work with them and partner. And we look for industry partners that, don't do what we do per se, but they're still in that same realm. And, we can both partner. And we found that those have been really, really good partnerships, right? Where we know
Right.
you want to have customer control. So if you're not doing it, somebody else is. So if somebody else is doing the meta ads or something like that, it's great to know exactly who they are, and you can work with them, and don't have to don't get your
Yeah,
customers.
because all those big brands are definitely advertising on Meta for sure. Like,
Oh, they are, right? And it is interesting, right? A lot of them, there are a lot of agencies that do that and offer that. And again, we're just seeing this growing trend, especially with a lot of large corporations, where we're seeing like, board demands that they need to bring it in house. So we've had some customers that, we've lost, and it had nothing to do with performance or anything. It was literally like, you know, basically a corporate mandate that they had to bring it in house based on, whatever decisions were being made by the board. So it's
interesting.
interesting.
So you brought up the Chat GPT. It's funny because most people don't think about Chat GPT as it's becoming a very large search engine, right? People are using it for all sorts of things to figure out how to do things and where to find everything really, and that you can get direct access to people looking for your service if they go into ChatGPT and be like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And then you guys show up. Is that like an SEO paid?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's kind of two aspects that we see opportunities of using ChatGPT. One would be on the ad side, and so that would be similar to that from that perspective. The other is really just in being able to use it. Like I'm seeing a lot of people that are, really hardcore ChatGPT users. They try to find ways to use it for everything. And so for us, it's more so integrating so they can, yeah. So, right? So,
Yeah,
if you want to work or partner with Limitless and you're using like you're a SaaS customer of ours, right? Or a brand partner of ours there, you don't have to log into Limitless to be able to run and manage your ads or do any of that stuff. You can just do it straight from ChatGPT. So
cool.
having the ability to use ChatGPT to partner with us, use our software, do that type of stuff. So there's kind of two different, I'd say, as we've seen in leveraging ChatGPT, but you're absolutely right.
Interesting. So aside from ChatGPT ads, how are you guys leveraging AI within the company, and what verticals is it most effective in?
Yes, I mean the biggest way we're leveraging it is within our backend software, right? So
Okay.
we're an ads company. We run ads all day long. And how we run them and our strategy behind it, like I said, it is our secret sauce. But the easiest way to explain it is, we like to use a fishing analogy. If you're going to go fishing, a campaign that you launch, let's say, is equal to how many bobbers or how many lines you have in the water. So if you have 6 lines in the water versus 1,000 lines in the water, odds are if you have 1,000 lines in the water, you probably have a higher likelihood of catching a fish.
Right.
And so for us, we see campaigns as is in a similar way. And so our software allows us to really do that at scale, and really kind of do A/B testing at almost an unhealthy level, I would say. We wouldn't be able to do that without AI. And so
Right.
that's, I'd say a core way of doing that, that we built into our software. And we have a lot of other aspects and that get tied into it. But I would say like, without giving too much away, that's the easiest way to maybe explain it.
Well, I appreciate you doing that. And
Like within Amazon, if you were to go manage your bids and do all that stuff yourself, like manually, it's time consuming,
it
and
is.
doing that for one campaign as opposed to like 1,000, like it's not even feasible. So what we have our software doing with AI just is not even, it's just wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, and this is for the clients, correct? You're iterating all of these for your clients to see what
Yep.
gets the best traction and where it's
Yep,
landing.
and then automating in real time, right? And like adjusting bids, and really our software, what it does is figures out, based on what's going on and performance and clicks and everything like that, right? It automatically allocates spend towards the products that are performing the best and making the highest margin. So we have a lot of different levers within our system. So based on what a customer or a client's goals are, right? Whether it's just maximizing revenue and profitability, I don't care what product sells, just sell them all versus, there's a specific, group of products that we want to focus on and want to make sure that, we're conquesting and taking sales away from our competitors and, increasing the rank on this product. So it shows up on the first page, right? Like, so there's a lot of different, there's a lot of different factors that go into customer goals. And so, based on what those are, we have the ability to tailor our software and set it up. It's aligning to that with how they're running it.
So what does a typical sales cycle for bringing on a new customer look like? You're a sales guy. How long does that take?
Yeah, it really varies on a lot of different factors. As with anything, right size is a big factor. So, if it's a massive, brand that's, over 100 million in revenue, right? Like there's just a lot more process involved in them making a decision and getting approval to spend money.
Right.
So, so I should actually take a step back. So that's just in general, right? Which I think everybody would agree with, as opposed to somebody where, they're, a small company that's got 10 people versus 1,000, right? There's just sales cycles are going to be longer with bigger companies. Just it's the
Sure.
nature of the beast, right? But also too, I would say it also depends on really what the need is. So if it's really on the Amazon's ad side, right? Could be anywhere from like a week or two for us to be able to like run a test or a trial, prove some of that stuff out. On the new capability you have with DSP to Shopify, I mean, it could be one phone call, to be honest. So the other big capability that I haven't mentioned that would probably be good to mention is, In terms of being able to set it up, so we leverage, Google Tag Manager, with
Right.
that, and so, it's basically adding, a few lines of code into the back end of your Shopify site, which takes less than 10 minutes. And then I'd say from there, we have to build out like some audience stuff. So it takes a little while. We have to get enough site traffic to be able to launch ads and do it in the way we need to. But you can literally get it set up and implemented in, you know, less than an hour.
Wow.
Like I said, we'll do onboarding calls with them where we'll get it set up and paste the code in the back end, and it'll take like 15 minutes. So it's something where they want to know to do. Like, so that's the other big benefit too. It's like, okay, this seems great, but like, how long does it take to set up and do it? It's like 15 minutes. Really?
Wow.
Yeah. So really what takes the longest is us being able to launch ads, and kind of have those audiences built out. So we're working that down, but that can be anywhere from a couple of days to a few weeks.
Okay.
And really we found we want to be as, cost conscious as possible with how we're managing customer spend, especially on trials. So, if you just go, we have target audiences that we go after, to make sure we're using that spend correctly. And if we're not, and we're just driving in new traffic, they're not going to be buying, and you're just wasting spend. So did I explain
Got
that
it.
okay? So yeah, I mean, anywhere, like anything, right? It could be as long as a few weeks or a couple of months. We have bigger brands that we're in touch with all the time, and it's more of a timing thing.
Right.
And then we have smaller brands that are like, yeah, I want to do this. What do we
Right.
do? Let's do it, and we send it over to them, and they're set up in a day. So, um,
So
it can be
where
as short as a one call close, right? Or, as a longer sales process. It really ultimately depends on what the customer wants, what their needs are, right? And where it makes sense. For me, as a salesperson and us as a company, we just love partnering with brands. So, however we can do that in the easiest way, fastest way possible, that's
right.
what we care about.
I mean, we all love a one call, that's all. Those are the best.
Yeah, right. Usually after that, it's like, so take 15 minutes of like, what's the catch? And we're like, the catch is that, this is new and we're still on the leading edge of it. And so, we have it pretty dialed in right now, but you know, it's, there's still things that happen when you're kind of on the leading edge of something. So,
Sure.
um, the, the catch is that we haven't done it maybe with your specific, product or category area. And we don't see any reason why it wouldn't, but you don't know what you don't know.
That's fair. And how do you guys are you guys going after potential clients, or are they coming to you? It's kind of a mix of both, like inbound, outbound?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, it's really been outbound for now, and so part of the reason why we were excited to chat with you and be on the podcast is really finding out ways that we can drive more inbound sales, and so and it's taken a little while. We've needed to really get our process perfected on this new DSP to Shopify product and make sure that we have it really dialed into a point where we can scale how we need to. Our back end internal processes are different from our traditional Amazon ads. It's just different. So it's a
Mm.
different process. And we've
Okay.
needed to leverage some AI and technology to help do that, especially with like the ad creatives and stuff. Um, so yeah. Thanks. Did I answer your question there?
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I would love to connect further on that after this
Yeah.
episode. So, what do you think the next year to 2 years looks like for the company? What are the big milestones? What are you guys shooting for?
Yeah. For us, we're really excited. We feel like like I said, this new DSP to Shopify ad capability we have is really a game changer. So for us, for the next year, we see it as really kind of explosive growth mode for us. And so, I couldn't give any specifics on revenue or anything like that, but really driving some, phenomenal sales and revenue growth for us. And I also think too, like also with that, right, driving wins and revenue for our brand partners, especially with like the higher tariffs and stuff that we've seen from a lot of brands. They're really being impacted and felt by that. And so for us too, it is, it seems cheesy, but it is equally as rewarding to know that you're helping, companies and brands succeed and be successful.
Yeah, it's great when you get a win-win. That's the
100%.
best,
Yeah.
right?
That's the best, right?
What you mentioned the tariffs. That's I didn't even think about that. But how much is that impacting mostly your customers' business, right? How much is that
Oh,
impacting things?
significant for a lot of them, right? For a lot of them, especially ones that are on Amazon, where they're competing against like Chinese brands and stuff, or they're products are coming from China or outside of the US, and their costs have gone up, significantly. And so, that's another, I think, has been another, key factor and driver for them wanting to drive more sales back to their D2C site because, their costs are going up.
Right.
And also too, Amazon, it is interesting. Amazon's a crazy ecosystem, but if you end up we've had a lot of customers that have raised their prices, right, because of that. And then they've basically been flagged by Amazon or taken out of priority and stuff like that because, Amazon's incentivizing brands to always have low cost and not increase their costs. So
Right.
it's been a really interesting, dynamic overall. With that, there are other brands that we partner with that are based in the US and 100% American made, and they're doing better than they ever have. So,
Interesting.
with any challenge, right, there comes opportunity, but, regardless, it's definitely impacting, almost everybody across the board.
I can imagine. I mean, I keep a pretty tight watch on the market and all the things. And just seeing that coming, hearing you tell me that from your client perspective, it makes a lot of sense. And, we're going to have to evolve and it's going to have to grow. And it looks like it's going to be here for a little while at least. Right.
Yeah, I think it will, right? And I think with anything, it forces, ingenuity, right? And having to find new ways to do things and do them differently, and be more resourceful and cost conscious. So, obviously things are hard, right? And it has been tough. We have seen it really impact some brands pretty significantly where they're hurting bad. But it's I don't know. It is what it is, right? So.
It is. I always like this question. What advice would you give to someone building their first revenue organization today if you
Oh
had to go
man.
back?
I mean, I would say great question. So like building a revenue org, like part of a business.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is really understanding and identifying who your target market is, right? And why they want to buy it. So the value behind it, right? In terms of what value is it really giving to them, both from like a consumption or use benefit or value for the business, but also like financially, right? So you can
Right.
justify it. And then with that, what they're willing to pay for it. You can price something as high or as low as you want, but usually what I've found and what I think I'm really good at after, a handful of calls with any new product or anything, I'm able to really figure out what the opportunity is with they're going to buy it for this reason. And, there's an old saying, uh, emotion buys it, logic pays for it. So,
Hmm.
the emotion part, they're going to buy it for this reason. It's going to help them here. And then you need to price it at this point, right? So they can logically justify it and pay for it.
Right.
So I think really understanding those two aspects are really important. And then making sure you're building out your sales process and your sales deck, right, to align to that. And really just making it simple for them to say yes, right? Whether that's, free trials or incentives, right? Make it easy for them to say yes in whether it's financial incentives or short integration or setup time so they can try it, test it, use it as quickly as possible and for the least amount of money possible.
Wow. That's great. I really appreciate you giving us that. Thank you.
Yeah, and like with sales decks too, right? For me, you have a kind of your general framework, and then as you're going through and having more conversations, you consistently see these are the concerns or these are the things that come up and how to address them. So, but I think it's really at the end of the day, right? It's you got to listen to your customer or your end user and figure out how you can align to them and really add value.
I mean, that's the goal, right? They're going to buy your product if it triggers both of those responses. It needs to make sense, but it also needs to solve a problem. And
Yeah, I've always been like a big ROI guy, because ultimately, whether they're the decision maker or they're not, right? Like they're gonna have to justify it either to themselves or to somebody else that's making the decision. So I think I'm
right,
really understanding the financial impact, both from like a cost perspective, but also like revenue generating perspective is huge.
right. Yeah, the return on investment is the name of the game. I mean, if there's not
And I
one,
think doing it in a way that's simple too is really important. They
right,
have like these ROI calculators and stuff, and you can basically manipulate them to show whatever you want. But I think just having it where it's really simple and easy to understand,
right,
I think is key. Like, previous to this, I was at a fintech infrastructure company, right? And it was great. Like it allowed them to make, margin or revenue off their payments. So it was, I mean, it was no longer a cost thing; it was a revenue generator for them. So it's just identifying what that is, right, and how it's really going to benefit them. Because at the end of the day, their business, if you're making their life easier, helping them make more money, being more efficient with it, right, you're adding a lot of value.
Yeah, it's a great investment at that point. Yeah, you guys have really good numbers, and man, it's been a real pleasure to get to spend some time with you. If somebody listening wanted to work with Limitless, what would be the best step to get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, email is always great. They can email me at it's jt@limitless.tech, or they can go on our website and actually even just sign up for an appointment that we have through our webpage. Our website, excuse me, is www.limitless.tech.
Awesome. Thanks, man. All right.
Yeah.
Well, JT, I really appreciate the time, man. I think we'll wrap it here, but thank you so much for giving us all this detail and all the information. And I wish you guys the best and all the success, and God bless you with your family and everything. So thanks, dude. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you, John. I really appreciate it, man. It was really enjoyable.
Great.